Lincoln Wheat penny, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, had already become one of the most beloved coins in American history by the early 1930s. The 1932 issue holds a particularly interesting place, not only because of its scarcity, but also due to the historical context in which it was minted. 1932 was one of the harshest years of the Great Depression. Millions of Americans were out of work, banks were failing, and the U.S. Mint dramatically reduced coin production since fewer coins were needed in circulation. This scarcity directly affected the mintage of the Lincoln Wheat penny in 1932, making it a coin of notable rarity among the wheat cent series. 1932 penny carried the same design that Victor David Brenner created in 1909, a verse front bust of Abraham Lincoln, the first U.S. president ever to appear on circulating coinage facing right with the motto, "In God We Trust," above liberty to the left, and the date 1932 to the right. Two wheat stalks encircling the denomination, 1 cent, and the country name, United States of America. At the top was the motto E Pluribus Unum. This design had become a patriotic and economic symbol, especially during the Depression era. Only 2 mints struck Lincoln Wheat pennies in 1932. San Francisco did not produce any cents that year. The relatively low mintages compared to previous years contribute to the coin's desirability among collectors. Because of the low demand for coinage during the Depression, far fewer pennies were struck, and many were heavily used in circulation. High-grade examples, especially in uncirculated mint state condition, are quite rare today. While millions were minted, relatively few have survived without wear. It weighed 3.11 grams and measured 19 millimeters in diameter. This composition would remain standard until World War II, when the mint temporarily switched to steel cents in 1943 due to copper shortages. 193 to penny, while not the rarest of the wheat series, is considered a semi-key date due to low mintage. Its value varies widely based on condition. Many Americans struggling to survive the Depression, a single penny had real purchasing power. Pennies could buy small items like matches, chewing gum, or a portion of bread. The 1932 penny thus carried not only monetary value but also a symbol of thrift, perseverance, and the nation's resilience. 1932 Lincoln Wheat penny is sought after by collectors completing a full Lincoln cent album. Its scarcity in higher grades ensures it remains a highlight of the early 1930s issues. Collectors especially prize coins with original red luster which have not toned to brown over the decades. 1932 Liberty Wheat penny is more than just a small copper coin. It is a relic of America's hardest economic times. It represents the struggles of the Great Depression, the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln, and the artistry of early 20th century U.S. coinage. Owning one is like holding a piece of history. 1932 penny was minted during one of the darkest chapters of U.S. economic history. The Great Depression was at its peak. Unemployment had skyrocketed to nearly 25%. Factories were shutting down, and farm incomes had collapsed. Because of this, fewer coins were needed in circulation. Banks already had more coins than the public demanded, so the U.S. Mint deliberately reduced production across all denominations. This explains the relatively low mintage of 1932 Lincoln cents. When Victor David Brenner designed the Lincoln cent in 1909, he broke tradition by placing a real person on a circulating coin. By 1932, Lincoln's portrait had become an accepted national symbol. During the Depression, his face on the humble penny carried even more weight, reminding people of a president who had led the nation through the Civil War. The penny was more than money, it was a patriotic emblem that ordinary Americans saw and used daily. One unusual aspect of the 1932 issue is that only 2 mints produced it, Philadelphia and Denver. The San Francisco Mint, which had regularly struck cents since 1909, did not issue any pennies that year. This makes the 1932s non-existent, which often surprises new collectors, who expect to find all 3 mint marks for the year, because pennies were still vital to everyday purchases. The 1932 wheat cent saw heavy use in circulation. This is why so few high-quality examples remain today. Most were worn down quickly through daily handling used for bus fares, candy, newspapers, and other small necessities that were especially important during hard economic times. While over 19 million were minted across Philadelphia and Denver combined, the number of coins surviving in uncirculated condition is very small. This makes mint state examples of the 1932 penny highly collectible. Coins with their original red luster are especially rare because copper naturally tones brown with age. Among the two, the 193D Lincoln cent is considered more valuable, especially in higher grades. Its mintage of just over 10 million is modest, but its survival rate in pristine condition is far lower. Collectors seeking to complete a full Lincoln wheat cent set will often struggle to find a top-grade 193D, which drives up demand. The Pennies design in 1932 had not changed much since 1909. However, this period marked the gradual transition in coinage toward modernization. By the mid-1930s, America was preparing to update coin designs, and within a decade, the Lincoln cent itself would undergo a major reverse change from wheat stocks to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959. Thus, the 1932 wheat cent represents an important midpoint in the coin's design history. During the Depression, every cent counted. A single penny could buy food items such as fruit, bread, or flour in bulk when combined with a few more. The coin circulated in millions of transactions that symbolized survival. For poor families, children often picked up discarded pennies and many households saved them in jars. The Lincoln wheat cent series that ran from 1909 to 1958. These coins carried not only monetary value but also historical charm, as they reflect a period of post-war optimism, technological change, and shifting U.S. economic conditions. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, debuted in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Instead of symbolic imagery like Lady Liberty, the reverse design bore two simple wheat stalks, symbolizing prosperity and agriculture. 1953. The U.S. was in the early years of the Eisenhower presidency. The economy was relatively stable following the Korean War. 1950 to 1953, and coin production was strong. Pennies were still an important part of everyday transactions. Buying small candies, postage stamps, or bus fares. A right-facing bust of Abraham Lincoln, with the inscriptions in date. Two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum above. The 1953 wheat penny was struck at 3 U.S. mint locations: Denver Mint D Mint Mark, high mintage but with some varieties. San Francisco Mint S Mint Mark, smaller production often favored by collectors for lower numbers. The coin was made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the standard bronze alloy for most wheat pennies, from 1909 to 1982, except for 1943, which was steel. Early 1950s, the U.S. Mint faced heavy demand for coins due to rapid economic growth. Dies were used extensively, sometimes resulting in weaker strikes and less sharp details on the coins. Collectors often seek 1953 pennies in sharp, uncirculated condition, because circulation wear is common. 1953. The Philadelphia Mint also produced proof wheat pennies for collectors. These had mirror-like surfaces and were struck using specially prepared dies. Only 128,800 proof sets were made that year, making them more valuable. The 1953 wheat penny is a representation of America's mid-century resilience. The Lincoln design had already been in circulation for 44 years at this point, and the wheat reverse was nearing its end to be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The 1950s marked the last decade for the wheat design, and collectors today value coins from this period as part of the closing chapter of a beloved coin era. The Lincoln wheat penny's design remained nearly unchanged from its debut in 1909 until 1958, making the 1953 issue part of one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. 1953. Liberty wheat penny is common in lower grades. It holds an important place in American numismatic history. For collectors, finding a pristine example or a rare error can be a rewarding challenge. Its rich copper tone, historical backdrop, and connection to Abraham Lincoln's legacy ensure